Welcome to the Cozy Hearth podcast, episode 3. Welcome to the Cozy Hearth. This is a podcast featuring the Cozy Vales Scribes. I'm your host, Kit Muse, and I am joined today by Rebecca Buchanan, Scott Walker, and Selina Eckert. And I just want to give a big welcome to Rebecca. She's new to our group of the podcast. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. Please fill a mug with your favorite cozy beverage and settle in for today's episode where we are going to talk about cozy gamings. But before we dive into that topic, let's just have a quick introduction. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here. Could you just tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself and what you write?
Sure. I am Rebecca Buchanan. I write fantasy, sci-fi, fairy tales, some horror stories, some mysteries, some romance, basically anything of the speculative genres, and I recently started writing thrillers. You can find me at eternalhauntedsummer.com, where there's a complete list of all of my publications. I do poetry, I do short stories, I do novellas. And this is my most recent publication, a collection of my short stories, A Witch Among Wolves Fantastical Stories, and it's an ebook and print format. So that's me.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I love that cover. Every time you post it online, I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. So I'm so glad you shared that. Let's dive in. Scott and Selina, I don't know anything about cozy games, so I'm just going to kind of be a passenger here on today's episode. Selina, why don't you begin and tell us a little bit about your experience with cozy games or some of the ones that you have played?
Sure. Um, I've been playing video games for pretty much my whole life and just got into cozy gaming kind of in the last few years, I guess. Um, didn't know it was a thing at the time. Just found games that I thought were fun but low stress, not too much pressure, nothing attacking you all the time, just at most maybe some puzzles or like growing things in a garden. Farming games are really big in cozy gaming. Um, Not always my favorite, but they are a very big genre in cozy gaming.
Are these games like on your phone games or PC games? I'm sorry, I know absolutely nothing about video games except for my original like Super Nintendo. So,
Sure. There's a variety. You can find them in a lot of different places. The Nintendo Switch has a lot of cozy games in their libraries. I personally play most of my games on PC through Steam. But there are phone games too, and actually some of the games that you can find on Steam, you'll also find on your phone. Um, so I guess some examples. Oh, I have so many that I could list. Um, but one that's not Steam, and I'm wearing my little plum bobs, I would say The Sims is probably a big cozy game for a lot of people. It's life simulator kind of stuff, but there's a lot of humor. You can do all kinds of different things. Um, Stardew Valley is a big one. I did start that one. I have to admit that I didn't really fall in love with it, but my sister is huge on it. Um, that's like a classic farming simulator kind of game, but it's got a little bit of a plot and a storyline to it too. There are other games that are more puzzle based, like A Little to the Left. That one is all about organizing things and putting things in order. And there's little puzzles that you can solve to figure out how to organize things. And that one's a lot of fun. Um, One that I know is on both Steam and phone is, what is it? Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which sounds ludicrous, but it's a really fun game. It's like a classic kind of setup where like you move from screen to screen, kind of like the really old Nintendo games did. And it's you are literally a turnip in a village of vegetables, and they've taken your house, and you're trying to get your house back. So you're going around doing all these errands for people so that you can hopefully get your house back. Um, One really funny mechanic I love with that one is every time you are handed like a piece of paper, your only option is to read it and then rip it up. So everything you're given, you just rip it up.
wow, that sounds fun. And that actually broadens my idea of what a cozy game is. Although I admit I'm a bit wounded at those really old Nintendo games. I felt that in my heart right there. Oh, but I get you. Scott, why don't you tell us a little bit about your gaming experience?
Oh, 1970s Atari console. I mean, OG baby. I remember playing Pong in the local Sears store in the 70s. Um, but it's funny you mentioned The Sims. The Sims was one of the outlier game titles that I played, and I was all in for months. That ate my head for a long time. So that's a really good call. So I would not have mentioned that as a cozy game, but I think it totally fits. Totally.
Mhm.
Maybe not Sim City so much, but The Sims for sure. And I played, oh, what was the game? There was a game that you recommended within the Cozy Vales group, Selina, sometime last year. And it was about a young girl and she's trying to like learn how to make potions and magic and she's in this like village. Oh, I gotta now have to go fire up Steam and look this
Is
up.
it the Baba Yaga one?
Think so. It's like you gotta go rebuild the hut.
Yeah, it's a Reka,
Rika.
Reka.
Yes,
Hmm.
that's it. That was really fun. And then I did chalk several hours up in spent several hours in Stardew Valley. But you talked about the Switch. There's one last year or the year before that me and my kids all bought. And it's the one where you like go on like an island or something like that. And it's very stylistic and you're trying to build a camp or something. I'm
Animal
trying.
Crossing?
Yes. Yes. That was one of my recent favorite plays. Love that game. Love
I
that
hear
game.
everybody online talking about it. That's how I know about it. But yeah, cool, cool.
So anyway, I played a lot of different games, probably the majority not cozy, but recently more cozy games. And I think it's like the mobile games. Here's what I don't like about the mobile games. Well, it's true for Stardew. Like Stardew Valley was very, if you don't log in every day, you miss the ability to harvest resources. And I didn't like that FOMO pressure of that particular game. But on the other hand, like I get it. But that mechanic that got brought over from the early mobile games, that one I'm not like, what was that farming game? And I never played it on Facebook. Farmville? What was that farming
Hmm.
game? So like that, like
Yeah.
I never got into that. But like I didn't like that about Stardew Valley, where it's like, well, I'm busy. I'm not playing for a week. Well, now I've lost a week of progress. I'm not crazy about that. Rika is more of a traditional RPG game where you're moving through the world and you're solving stuff on your own time. Everything stops when you're not playing that game, and I did like that aspect of that. And The Sims was, I think, wait, let me think about that. The Sims, the clock would still run in the background, right?
Only if you're in the game, really,
Okay, so everything does
like in
stop when
that
you quit.
neighborhood.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I played this back in like the late 1990s. That's how long ago it was. It's been a while.
I mean, I
But
started in like the late 20,000, late 2000s.
yeah.
So I think I started with Sims 2. So I'm not that far behind you, but we're up to Sims 4 now, which maybe the mechanic is a little different and I'm forgetting, but
That's okay. That was the one thing that kind of struck me about Stardew Valley, where it's like, this I don't like that pressure of having like it feels anti-cozy. I
Hmm.
feel pressured to log in, to harvest the resources, to level up, to do XYZ. Other than that, though, super cute. Loved every aspect of it, and the relationships that were there, the secrets of the characters that you can discover and reveal, and the gifts that you make to give to other characters in the game to then advance your relate. Like I loved all those aspects of Stardew Valley. Really, really cool. I would love to know because I think we've talked about this on a previous podcast episode. Like, what is cozy fantasy? I'm curious because Selena, you got the most experience here. Like, what's a cozy video game? Where's the line for that? When does it stop being cozy?
that's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer. I mean, for me, like my impression is it's low pressure. Um, a lot of times there's no fighting or not a lot of fighting. Uh, Sometimes it's based on vibes. It depends a little bit. Like there's one called Coffee Talk, and it's kind of what do they call them? It's a visual novel sort of story. but like as you're progressing through the storyline, your decisions affect the outcome, and you're making coffee for everyone as you go. So like you're a little bit of like a barista as you go too. Um, and that one is very low stakes. You don't have to do that much except make decisions. Um, but it also at times like doesn't feel as cozy because it has some like real world, not real world because it's fantasy, but like a little bit of that real world feeling, like political climate. Like every loading screen for a new day, you have the headlines on the newspaper, but then you get into like the characters that you're actually talking to at that time. So that one is a little bit of a mix, but it still feels cozy. Um, Turnip Boy, you have to fight a few things here and there, but like it's still whimsical and funny and it feels a lot lower pressure. So like I would still call it cozy, even though maybe someone else might not.
If I may, I would say that last part right there, it may feel cozy to some people, not others, is key. I know an author who writes romantasy and fantasy, and she turns out 5 or 6 books a year. She plays World of Warcraft to relax. That's what she does. She hacks up monsters in World of Warcraft. That's her cozy game. So it's really subjective.
That's what
Well, that's not all you can do. You can fish, you can collect rocks, you can collect
She kills
flowers.
things. That's what she does to
There's a lot
relax.
of ways to level up without killing anything, Rebecca. But yes, yeah, that is a good point. That is a very good point.
I was thinking that too when Rebecca, you mentioned that about World of Warcraft, because I remember there was a game, and this would have been probably mid 2000s that I sat there, me and a bunch of guys at work, and we just played this game between every call. It was called Battle On, and it was literally just battle, next battle, and all you did was hack up monsters. But it was very relaxing when you're on an IT help desk. Um, but yeah, and now I'm thinking because like I started playing Farmville, but then you get to a point, and this kind of got to your point, Scott, too, about where at some point you have to actually like pay money to get coins to then get to the next level. And that to me felt very, and I love that term, anti-cozy, that if it's just trying to extract stuff from you, then it's not really a cozy game. And I'm just curious what everybody else thinks about that.
Um, the
Yeah.
cozy games that I play come from a studio called Pixelberry, and they are choose your own adventure games. And there's just an app for it, and they have like a dozen different games you can play. They got fantasy on there. They've got murder mysteries. They've got crime thrillers, things like that. And you do have to buy diamonds in the game to advance. They give you multiple choices, but it's really obvious which choice is the right one and which one is the wrong one, which I find kind of aggravating because then I have to buy diamonds with real world money to make the right choice to advance my character and do whatever it is that needs to be done. I don't particularly like it, but I understand they need to make money. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. Like I don't. I get it. I'm not crazy about it. I typically don't do in-game transactions, and if the game requires it to level up, I mean, like Clash of Clans, like I've never spent a dime on that. I'll just slowly wait. 5 minutes a day, I go in, collect my, like I don't even attack anybody. I'm just like, it's 5 minutes a day. I log in and I'm like, collect, 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 upgrade, 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 and I don't attack anybody. And my kids are like, "What are you doing, Dad? What is even the point?" I'm like, "It's cozy and it keeps me from stressing out." Don't tell me how to game.
my husband loves Clash of Clans, by the way. He's on that all the time.
Does he actually attack other camps though?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
he loves planning out his battles and doing the little poke 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 thing and no, don't go there. Go there. What are you doing? You stupid AI. Poke 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 poke. Yeah.
I mean, would you call that cozy? I'm not sure I would call it cozy. Would you call that one cozy?
It kind of de-stresses him, but he also gets aggravated at the AI, so I think it's just, something he likes to do to spend time. It's his thing.
Men are weird. I get it.
So we've talked a little bit about video games, but I cannot let an episode of the Cozy Hearth podcast go by without us talking about the RPG that we have that you can actually stream on YouTube for now. Shameless plug. And I think there is, I think this is a great carryover to RPGs because I think there are people that would say that like Dungeons and Dragons, D&D could be cozy because it relaxes you, even though, depending on what your quests are and how the game is structured. But I also know that our Gemma has an RPG available as well that's cozy. So what do you guys think about RPGs?
Mhm.
Well, I now own two source books that are marketed as cozy RPGs. So that it's definitely a thing for sure. And it's not just a random thing. It has now been labeled kind of like cozy fantasy. It's now been labeled a thing in that larger gaming community. So for sure it's there. And interestingly, like I said interestingly, a couple of years ago, I almost ran a cozy RPG using D&D rules, but the whole point would have been essentially we're trying to open up a bakery and mishaps happen. Zoning laws change. You didn't get the permit. Supplies don't show up. Somebody stole this like it would be no combat, and it would all be role playing. And so that I probably should have written that and sold that 3 or 4 years ago, but it's definitely a thing that I've seen. And Gemma's RPG was so much fun to play. We'll do a link to the YouTube video and then a link to actually buy it. So if anyone wants to buy it and run it, they can totally do that. It's not game system specific. You can drop it into any mechanic system you're running, whether it's D&D or Heroes or Fates or whatever. Those all work. So it was a lot of fun. We clearly had a lot of fun if you've watched the video.
It sounds like it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Rats.
Yeah, I'll
I'll just say
second
that. Rats. There were lots of rats. A lot of
there were
rats.
lots of rats.
Was
Yeah,
it
I
rats and
totally
sacks?
agree.
I think rats and sacks was like the
Yeah,
catchphrase for that
that
game.
was it.
Sorry. I'm triggering Selena. Sorry.
No, I totally agree. It really depends on how you run the game, and you can definitely do any kind of cozy RPG that you can do any non-cozy RPG. Um, I've been doing one with my partner, my sister, and one of my friends for a couple of years now. Um, and it's called Townburg Trio. And it's literally just me, my sister, and my friend, who are the three characters. Um, I'm a swarm ranger with a bunch of chickens. Like I just am obsessed with chickens. And like my friend is a horse girl, like one of those crazy horse girls. And my sister is just a wild child druid who just wants to be outside all the time. And it's a lot of fun to not have those like high pressure stakes all the time. I would say it borders on cozy adjacent sometimes, not just cozy, but it's definitely different than any other D&D campaign I've ever been part of. So
How did
It
that come?
sounds
How'd that come about?
I think we were trying to fill time. My husband does his own podcast with some of these as recordings, and we had a bunch of people missing at some point and just ran like a short story because only the three of us were there. And it ended up kind of hitting it off with people. People really liked it. So he built a small campaign around it.
Very cool. Very
I'm gonna have to find that, yeah, because I too am obsessed with chickens. So that would be very much something up my alley that I could share with all my chicken people. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I can share the link for that too. It's through Crit Hippo.
That would be awesome. We'll make sure and put that in the show notes. Thank you.
For sure. Well, I mean, we should probably mention that we are also working on another RPG that we hope to be able to play before Autumn Tales comes out in mid-September. So yeah, we've got at least one more we're working on. And so it'll be cozy for sure, autumn themed. But yeah, we had so much fun with the last one. We're working on another one. So there you go.
As
Wonderful.
as someone who played D&D every week when I was in grad school, but I have not been able to since because I do not have the time to spare to go to a weekly gaming event that's going to run for 5 or 10 years, I would like to say that I would love to see more one-shot cozy fantasy RPGs and something you could play in one night, just even if they were all set in the same world, so you could keep using the same character over and over instead of having to roll up a new character each time and just, have your squirrel character, your chicken character, your troll character, just have these random one-off adventures. Just play it whenever you want to, and it's just the one and done. Those would be fun.
Ooh, is it Teacup Times? I think it's Teacup Times. I think they have the source book and then they have a series of modules, basically one-offs, exactly what you're describing.
Very cool. Good.
Yeah. So we'll have to look that up to confirm the name, but that's one of the books that I bought probably last year and super cozy. Like I'm just like enjoying reading the source book. I haven't even played anything and it's just like I'm loving going through the book and seeing the world building that they've done. And the mechanics and the system itself is also fun too. So again, like no combat. And they make it very clear if you have had to resort to violence, basically you failed. You've lost because that's not what this is all. It's all about persuading, coordinating, planning, cooperating,
Right.
helping others. And those are the themes that they want to encourage. So if you really are looking for something different that isn't a time commitment like that, check out, I think it's Teacup Times. We'll look it up for sure. And they're like not a couple hours maybe. They don't feel like they're like super, super long.
Yeah, I would love to do something like that, just meet digitally or in person, once a month or something for a couple hours and just have a game.
I'm trying not to laugh because I have friends that if you tell them that violence would be failing, then I guarantee you every campaign or everything you do, they would find ways to do random violence. So yeah, I think that sounds awesome and so relaxing and such a good way to pass a couple hours. I'm with you, Rebecca. I think, doing that on a monthly basis, but I'm also thinking, yeah, not with my group of friends.
There is something to be said for the old school hack and sack.
Yeah.
Kill a dragon, get some gold, level up, get some, yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Well, this has been lovely, and I've really appreciated this conversation. I have learned a lot. So I sincerely hope that our listeners have learned a lot. Before we go, why don't we just make one quick round and let people know if you haven't, if you've got a story coming up in the August anthology or just in general, what are you working on? Let's start with Selina.
Sure. I do have a story in the autumn anthology that's coming out. I changed the title a few times, so I'm going to admit I don't remember the title that I settled on. But it centers around Moonbell Festival, which is a festival that Honey Hive Vale holds every 10 years to celebrate the one night blooming of this flower that only exists in Honey Hive Vale.
That sounds delightful. Thank you. Rebecca?
I have a short story in the anthology as well, and it's about a griffin and a sorcerer who are on their way to see the queen, and unfortunate hijinks ensue.
Oh, fun. I'm looking forward to that one. And Scott.
Um, well, first off, I forgot to do this. I want to recommend a video game in the cozy space, but it hasn't come out yet. And full disclosure, the person who runs the studio is a friend of mine. I've known him for about 15 years, and his previous games have been, I would say, very much cozy, kind of Myst-like. He has a game they're currently developing called the Greenhearth Necromancer, and the little short video they've got on on Steam. I'm watching the video game like I want to play this right now. This is like such a cozy, awesome little heartwarming game. I can't wait to play it. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. But it's called Greenhearth Necromancer, and if you just search for it, it's on Steam. I do have a short story in the upcoming Autumn Tales. It involves a grumpy old dwarf who is a brewer who used to make ale, and he discovered how to make beer and didn't like what that ended up causing. It was a schism in the ale guild, and he never brewed again. And
Hmm.
then one morning, a little 1 foot squirrel entity knocked on his door, and this little squirrel is looking for a mentor to tell him how to brew. And it changes this dwarf's life. And that's no spoilers, but that's how my story opens. And it's one of my favorite stories that I've written for Cozy Vales so far.
Oh,
There
that
you
sounds
go.
so cool. Yeah. And my story, I like to think of it as like all creatures great and small set in the Vales. I have a half goblin, half halfling who discovers a cat in need of care and maybe a found family along the way. We'll see. There's other stories. It kind of sets the stage for what I hope to be continued stories for this character. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much to our listeners for listening. And don't forget to keep it cozy.